Hey guys, Master Far here. Welcome you all to my channel. Follow me on T-Formers and look me up on DeviantArt. Now, I've got a question for you. What do these two figures have in common? For those of you who don't know, this is my custom Cyberverse Sideswipe, and this is Power to Prime Jazz. Now, I know what you're thinking. These are two different lines with completely different aesthetics. Not quite. You see, the one-step changer Jazz we got in Cyberverse was heavily inspired by this. And with that little bit of trivia out of the way, and considering that this was also based on a tiny turbo changer, let's take a look at today's video. Warrior Class Jazz. And in alt mode, you can see it is the Warrior Class Drift mode. I've of course done them up in the classic Jazz colors, as you know. The blue stripe right here and the blue right here. I didn't put too much paint on it because I wanted to keep it with the aesthetics of the line and not make it stick out. I mean, it is a warrior after all. But yeah, you can see I did actually use some paint thinner. Once again, I used a bunch of it right here to make it completely white, to make it match Jazz. I also used a repro label right here. The brand of paint I used was Testers, and yeah, nothing really on the back. It's mainly a lot more paint thinner than paint, I can say for certain. But yeah, rolls the same, and it's Jazz. What did you expect? The Spanish Inquisition? But either way, here's a little backstory. I discovered the tiny turbo changers a few weeks ago, and of course you all remember this Sideswipe custom is based on his tiny turbo changer. Now, if you've been paying attention, we also got a tiny turbo changer of Jazz made from the Drift mold. And yes, I am working on a Silverbolt. I just gotta find a Jetfire. Spoilers for that, I guess. But yeah, Jazz. Despite having a figure already, he's one of those. It's one of those cases where we have the figure, but he's not appearing in the cartoon. It happens all the time in toy lines. Too much, I think. I mean, I'm getting off topic. You can see once again, I mostly paint thinner, but transformation time. It's the exact same as Drift. This mold is pretty decent, so I chose this one. This part's really hard. Just flip the legs down like so. Stand it up. Flip out the sword. Yes, I kept the sword, and I'll explain why in robot mode. Flip this back. And break down the chest. Clear the camera. And here we have Jazz in robot mode, people. And you can see it is definitely a Cyberverse aesthetic of Jazz Hound. Looking at it, you can see once again I put paint thinner for use, and if you're wondering what brand I use, I would recommend using Testers. You see, this one will really get anything off, but enough plugging for Testers. Let's look at the details I've added. So on the feet, they're basically the same white. I did make the rest of the leg right here, the hips, completely white. I put some red highlights right here to add into a little Cyberverse aesthetic. On the chest, you can see, once again, more paint thinner. I like saying that word, paint thinner. Yeah. Here's some lights right here. The blue on the chest is meant to mimic the car mode. And the head sculpt, you can see I've actually painted over. It's still it doesn't really look like Drift now, but, oh yeah, speaking of which, I forgot to transform this part. And, yeah. You can see on the head sculpt, I did paint a visor and paint it black, so it would kind of match its inspiration. Alright, getting back, it's gimmick time. Of course, it's a Cyberverse warrior, so I have given this guy what I'm calling his Sonic Slash. It's basically Drift's gimmick, only I changed it a little. So taking the arm like so, and that, the sword comes up. And as you'll notice, I have taken out the string, because the gimmick was fine with it tied up. I like it like a sword slicing action, but yeah, I got rid of string because it was kind of dumb. So I hot glued it in place. Yeah, actually articulation for a warrior like this is pretty good. So he can get some battle poses. Yeah, and as for comparison time, let's straighten the guy out. No pun intended. And yeah. And for comparison, here he is with kind of the inspiration. Now, if you're wondering, the Cyberverse 1 step changer jazz is heavily based on this figure right here, mainly in the head and everything else. But I feel like I've given my own spin on it with the tiny turbo changer. As for some other comparisons, here he is with another Cyberverse custom. This is Blue Streak, of course. Check his video out too. Shameless plug. And of course, Sideswipe. So yeah, he works really well with these three. And yeah. So overall, that's it in a nutshell. But yeah, that's about it. This is Master Far signing off. Follow me on T-Formers and DeviantArt. Check me out on Sundays for Afternoon with John, and I will see you next time.